Lori here. I'm here today to start my Reading Rush Readathon vlog. The Reading Rush took place April 16th so it took place Thursday through Sunday, and I'm filming this in real time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys participated. I really like how the bookish community is really coming out and giving us activities that we can do indoors. I think that that's really important. So I'm really excited today. But I actually do the Reading Rush mostly every year. I think I mostly do it in the summer because I have a little bit more time. But I thought these prompts were really interesting, and because this is my technical spring break, I'm grading a lot less. So I actually have time to do this. So there are 4 prompts that they want you to focus on. And the first prompt is read a book with a house on the cover. So I decided that I'm going to read Verona Comics. I don't know if this is a house, but it is a building. I feel like I read somewhere that Jubilee lives above her comic book shop, but I can't remember. But I'm going to count this as having a house on the cover, a store on the cover. I'm going to go with this just because I think it would be a fun read. And I really do like the concept. This book is kind of like Romeo and Juliet's, but for the comic book set. Kind of reminds me a little bit of, oh my god, what's the name of it? Comics Will Break Your Heart. But this one also does take place at a con, so this or has a con-like element. So that does also connect back to one of my other prompts, but this is the book that I'm going to do specifically for the prompt that it has like a house on the cover. The next prompt is, let me see if I can find it. The next prompt is read one book in one room of your house. So I mostly read in my bedroom anyway, so any of these books will kind of work. I'm not really reading outside because all the parks are closed. I sometimes read outside, but not a whole lot, and if anything, I'll probably read outside during the weekend if it gets a little bit nicer weather-wise. But that's one prompt that easily can be done with any of these books because I normally read in my bedroom when it's colder, and it hasn't got nice weather yet in New York City, Long Island yet. We're getting there, but it's not nice all the time. But if it gets really nice, I might also read outside. But most of my reading will happen in this very room, on this very bed, or on my chair. So definitely my bedroom would be where I'm reading most of the time. And then the next prompt is read a book set where somewhere you wish you can go. And overall, there are actually, all of these really work. This book does have a Comic-Con setting, so I really do miss Comic-Con. I miss conventions. I miss being around people. So this also can work for that prompt. But this was the one that I chose, Girls Save the World in this one by Ash Parsons. And this is about a zombie convention, and then a zombie apocalypse winds up happening. And I really miss the fact that I can't go to BEA this year because it got canceled. So if I read either of these books, then it will definitely work for that prompt. But also my last one could also work. So those books seem really fun, and I'm really excited to dive into those. And then the last prompt is read a book that will make you smile. I'm really easy with books that make me smile. I think that this romance will definitely make me smile. But the one that I chose is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is actually going to be the book that I'm going to pick up first. And this follows Olive, and she's basically the maid of honor at her sister's wedding, and when her sister and her groom wind up getting food poisoning, Olive and the best man have to go on the the honeymoon as them, and then they have to do kind of like a fake dating trope. And I've heard that this is some people's favorite book by them, so I really did enjoy the ones that I read earlier last year, so I'm hopeful that this one will also pique my fancy. And this is going to be the one that I am going to read tomorrow. Well, this is going to be the first read of the readathon. And I normally fly through these really quickly. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I will definitely come on here early tomorrow and let you guys know if I've read anything before I head to work. I still am working this week, but it's definitely a less chaotic schedule. So I'm going to go kind of spend the rest of the night just catching up on some TV shows, and I'm reading something, but it's not going to be a part of this vlog. But I will share that with you at the end of this vlog, what I wound up reading. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey, Slurry here. I'm back. I'm actually gonna finally start reading this morning. I did a bunch of errands, woke up nice and early, about to start teaching. But I do want to dive into The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I said this in a previous clip. This is like spring break week for me, so I have to like do less grading than I normally do, which I'm really excited about. So I'm gonna dive into this, and if I can update you, I will try to update you when I read a little bit to give you guys my thoughts about it. I have read 2 Christina Lauren books in the past. I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Dating and The Roomies. I like them. I didn't love them, but I have heard from my friend that this one was her favorite, so I hope that I like it. I'm going to dive into reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi, Larry here. I'm just checking back in. I just wanted reading a little bit of The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I got up to page 34. This is definitely a classic love-to-hate romance. I'm really liking the characters. I'm wishing that we did get Dane's point of view a little bit. I mean, no, Ethan's point of view a little bit, but we don't. But it's basically following this girl named Olive. She is the maid of honor in her twin sister's wedding. I also really, really like books about twins, and her twin sister Amy likes to get everything for free. She's really, really good at winning contests, so her whole wedding is free. And the best man in the wedding and Olive, they don't get along. They're like total enemies, and you're really seeing their relationship kind of develop in the first couple of chapters. I'm really liking their interactions, and I'm curious to see like how it goes from love to hate, like I'm assuming it's love to hate, like how it goes from like them not even liking each other to them liking each other. Like I'm curious because they seem totally at odds right now. But I'm really, really liking it. I'm 34 pages in. I'll probably check in with you guys when I get to like page 50, or at least when they get to the location that they're going to, because that's all in the back. So this is not going to take that long. I mean, to get to that part, but I'm really liking it. I think it's super fun. I love books about twins. I love books about love to hate romances. So far, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi, Slurry here, just checking back in. I did actually wind up reading about 84 pages in The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This book is definitely a classic love to hate romance. I'm also loving the tropical setting right now. I said this in my TBR, but any of the books I'm reading involve a setting that I would love to be in right now. I've always wanted to go someplace tropical, so in general, but especially now where we really can't travel, this book is just nice. I like the airplane elements. I like that these characters really are going from hate to maybe mutual like to maybe love in the future. But also a complication has happened. Olive landed a new job right before she left. And ironically, her soon-to-be boss is also vacationing in this thing, and she has to do some quick footing to make sure that he doesn't uncover her lie, and also everyone else doesn't uncover her lie. It's really, really fun. I'm liking the dynamics between the characters. I really wish I was in Dane's head a little bit. I mean, Ethan's head a little bit more. Sorry, Dane's the brother that the other girl married. But I'm really liking it. I'm loving a resort. I always love books that like contains like environments, because I think it just makes the story so much more interesting. And I'm always a big fan of love to hate romances. So I'm going to do a quick workout while I have a little bit, like 15 minutes off. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to keep reading, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts as I make my progress. Bye, guys. It's Lori here. So I have been reading. I did get up to page 118 in On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This book is so fun. It is such a fun read. I'm really loving the characters. Even more entanglements from their past have happened at this resort, so now the gag has to go on even longer than they originally planned, and now the entanglement is on Ethan's side, which I still am really like getting to know Ethan as a character, and I'm just really loving this tropical setting. It's like the first day at the resort, so I really hope that more tropical things happen. We just found out that the quarantine for where I'm living is going to be in effect until May 15th. Which is really kind of what I was expecting. So we have another month of quarantine at least. My school is most likely shut till the end of the year, unless they change that. So I'm probably quarantined for like 2 months more. But hey, I have a lot of books, and I hope that we have some more readathons coming up. But really, I'm liking this book. I'm loving these characters' dynamics. It's changing from pure hate to maybe like respect, and I really love this setting. Like I wish I could go to a tropical setting right now, so this book is great. So this book really fits like 3 prompts. It's a book that makes me happy for sure. It's a book that has a place that I want to go to. I have read this book in my house, so if I only read this book this weekend, I will have done all the prompts. But I'm gonna go get a quick snack, and I'll come back and chat with you guys when I read about 50 more pages. Bye, guys. Hey, it's Lori here, just checking back in. It's 5 o'clock. I'm about to go have a dinner, but I did want to check in and say that I did wind up making some more progress on The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I'm on page 172. I think that right now, and I've read 3 of her books, this one is definitely my favorite. I'm really liking the dynamics between the characters. I'm really liking the love-hate relationship. I am liking that we're mostly in her head, but I would like to see a little bit more from Ethan, so I'm curious to see about that. I think that the structure of this book is super interesting. I like how they're kind of doing different things on this honeymoon. I think that that's really interesting. I like that it does have elements that connect back to their current lives, like for both Ethan and for Olive. I think it's just super fun. I think that the characters that we met at the start of the book still having a role is kind of important and kind of key. But I really do like the development of the relationship and how their relationship is changing throughout this book. I think the situation they're in now is super funny, and they had some really funny moments that just were like, oh my goodness. You could cut the sexual tension with a knife in that one moment, so I'm really curious to see how this book progresses. All the books, I struggled with the ending for all of their books, so I'm curious to see, I remember loving Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and then when I got to the end, I really did not like the ending, and the same as I think for Rumi's. So I'm curious to see how I'm gonna feel about this one, but I'm gonna keep reading. I would really love to make a good dent in this tonight. Maybe not finish it, but definitely make a good dent. I want to also go back to Gifted and rack up a couple more episodes in that. So that's gonna be my plan after I finish watching my YouTube videos. But I am still gonna be reading. But yeah, that's my plan. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Lori here. It's about 6 o'clock. I did wind up reading about up to page 200 in The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Really am liking this book. I love the situations that they're being put into because I think that they're so fun and so different, and I just like them. And for someone who's trapped inside, I just like that they're all interesting things. One's a massage and one's another element, but I'm really liking it. I'm liking the characters. I think I'm learning a little bit more about Ethan in this book than what I was expecting because this whole book is from Olive's point of view. I'm just really liking. There's a lot of sexual tension scenes. This is definitely a book for older audiences, but one that I really do enjoy. I'm really curious to see where the story progresses and where their relationship goes, but I'm really liking it. I think that I'm really liking these characters' dynamics, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm also doing a Zoom chat with the author of Bookish and the Beast, which is Ashley Possum. I think I'm doing that at 7 o'clock tonight. There's been a lot of fun bookish content that's coming up due to quarantine life, so I'm gonna check that out. I think it's happening in an hour. I want to do a quick workout before I dive into the rest of this, which is about 200 more pages until I'm done, which is actually, I think, definitely doable, at least by tomorrow. Probably not tonight, but definitely by tomorrow I think I'll be able to finish it. But I'm really, really liking it. I can't wait to see where the story goes, and I'm really loving the setting and the characters, and it's super enjoyable. I actually do have 2 other Christina Lauren books that I still haven't read. One is Twice on a Blue Moon and The Honey Don't List, and then I have to get The Half Night Stand, which is another one that I really did want to read. So I'm going to see if I can maybe add those to an order that I was going to place in June, depending to see what quarantine life is like, because all the books I was going to get for June, a lot of them are getting pushed back, so I might have to add a couple more to my TBR card. But I'm going to go do my quick workout, and then I'm going to keep reading, and then I'm going to go to that bookish meeting, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here, just checking back in. I did wind up reading about to 243 and The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book definitely hit the climax, literally and figuratively, in a couple of different ways, which I'm really liking. I think that a lot of secrets were revealed about the characters in the middle of this book, secrets for both Ethan and for Olive, which I don't think that they knew, and I think it makes their relationship more complicated, but also the relationship with their siblings, because their siblings are married, or were supposed to get married, got married, and then this honeymoon was supposed to be. Their relationship just got a little bit more complicated. So I'm really liking that. I'm really liking the dynamics between the characters. I think that this book is really the classic miscommunication trope, but it's also a trope that I think is well done because these characters didn't have very many interactions with each other, but when they did interact, I think it was a lot of miscommunication. But I'm really curious to see how this story develops and what is the end game of this story, because I think it's super interesting, especially because of the situation their what the secrets have revealed about their siblings. I think that that will be an interesting level to the relationship that I wasn't necessarily expecting. But I am really liking it. I think it's definitely a steamy book. I'll say that. Definitely steamy, but one that I'm really enjoying. I do have a bookish chat with Ashley Poston in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to try to get up to page 250 before then. I'm on 243, and then I would love to tackle another 100 pages of this read today before I go to bed, but I do want to watch some episodes of Gifted. So that's my plan of attack right now, and I will definitely update you guys after the bookish chat. Bye, guys. It's Lori here. It's about 9:15. I did a lovely chat with Ashley Poston, who is a part of the Once Upon a Con series. Her book, Bookish and the Beast, got pushed back to August, which is such a bummer. So upset about that, but I do understand for various reasons. I hope that the reason that they're pushing it back is they really want her to do events live and in person, because all my books by her are currently signed. So the second Heart of Iron book is not, but I would love to meet her again in person because she's lovely. But she read us like 2 chapters of it, and that was such a fun experience. Also, she is hosting a giveaway. I don't know when this is going to be live, but she said she will be hosting a few giveaways on her Twitter. So whenever this goes live, make sure you check out her Twitter and follow her. She's lovely and she's a fangirl just like all of us. But I did wind up getting up to page like 250 in the Honeymooners, which means I read 250 pages today, which is really, really good. I definitely think I can probably finish this book tomorrow, probably during work. Tomorrow at work, I do want to like prep for next week because I actually do have to like start grading again, or start grading more than I was this week. And I'm hopeful by next week they'll really have an answer for us, like if we're gonna go back, because I'm getting such conflicting reports. But I really do like this book. It's really, really fun. I'm going to go watch Kelly and Ryan, which has been my daily thing, and then go watch a couple of episodes of Gifted before I just veg out for the day. But I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning, hopefully with a little bit more progress on the Honeymooners. Bye, guys. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm about to start reading for the day about the Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I got up to page 253 last night, and I have about 150 pages left, which I think is definitely doable to read today. It's more than I actually read more yesterday, so I hope to tackle this. This is my last day that I'm not focusing totally on grading, so I'm going to try to enjoy it. And I also prepped everything, so I really don't have any grading to do this weekend, which is nice, so I can really focus on the readathon. But I'm going to dive into the Honeymooners, do some stuff on Instagram, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to page 309 in Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This book definitely did have a different structure than I was kind of expecting, but that's fine. I think that it's a nice way to like kind of wrap up their story. There was some hits or some more complications that arrived towards the end of this book that I am enjoying. Some of them I think are a little bit more predictable, but some of them are kind of surprising. Still really liking this book. I think I'm gonna wait to decide what I think of until like the super end of this story. But right now I am liking it. They're out of their tropical environment, I'll say that. So I think it's kind of interesting to see how this book is going to wrap up. They're back around their family, which I think is adding a lot of complications to their lives. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm definitely going to wind up finishing this book today. I have about 100 pages left, so that's going to be my priority. And when I have about 50 pages left, I'll update you guys about my thoughts. Right now, still really liking it. Still definitely like a 4.5 star read. It might become a 5-star read, but right now, four stars is probably where I'm going to limit it. But right now, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be a 4-star read. Definitely my favorite read so far of these authors, but we will see what the end brings, which has been the case for the other 2 books. Then I didn't really like them as much, so we will see. It's Lori here. I'm just about to check in. It is 2:15 about. I am about to go for my daily bike ride because work is almost over. It is Friday. It is also the second day of Reading Rush. I did read about 100. I would say I read like about, I think it was on page 300 when I started this, or 250. So I read about 100 more pages in the Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. It took like a very interesting twist in the second half of the book. I don't think I was expecting that, but I'm enjoying it. It also dealt with some topics that I just wasn't prepared for, that I think they did it in like a really like interesting way. I won't give it too much away, but it had some elements that reminded me of like the Me Too movement in some moments. Like, I don't know if that was really, really planned, but it just talked about the believability of women and When You Should Believe Women, and I thought that was really interesting, and I really liked how it really affected the dynamics between everyone, but especially Olive and her sister and Olive and Ethan. I thought that stuff was really interesting, and it made the dynamics really much more complicated once they left their honeymoon, I'll say. But I really liked it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to finish the rest of it tonight and then move on to another book. I did add a couple of more books to my TBR. I added like 2 more to it, so I'll show you guys the books that I added when I'm done with this one, and I'm going to choose my next read. But I'm going to go for a bike ride, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys. It's Lori here. I'm back. I did wind up finishing The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I definitely think this is my favorite book by this pair so far that I read. I did read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and I did read Roomies. I think that this book right now is by far my favorite. I really did love the tropical setting. I really did enjoy the love to hate romance. I really enjoyed the structure of this book. I also really liked the character dynamics. I did like that there was a moment that we did get Ethan's point of view, because I normally like that. The only thing that would have made this book a little bit stronger for me is if it was alternating perspectives. So I wound up giving this book 4 stars for review, and this is the first book that I wound up finishing for the readathon, and with everything, it is 400 pages. I also did add quite a few books to my TBR just because I felt like I wanted a few more to pick from, and I really didn't have any books that had houses on the cover. So most of these do. Actually, all of these have houses on the cover, or like homes on the cover. So I wound up handing The Last Chance Hotel by Nikki Thornton. This is a middle grade book, and it does have a house on it. So this is one that I wound up adding to my TBR. I actually got this from my friend Sarah as a birthday present, I think. So yeah, but this is the one that I wound up adding to my TBR, as well as York, which is another middle grade one by Laura Ruby, which has a bunch of buildings on it. And this is another one. I actually got this in Virginia over the summer, so I did wind up adding this. And I wound up adding Once Upon a Dream, which is the book that I'm really excited to read. And this is like a part of the Twisted Tale series. And this is What If Sleeping Beauty Never Woke Up, which I'm really excited about. And I also wound up adding Layoverland by Gabby Noon, which is basically kind of like the Good Place. I think it follows this girl named Beatrice, and she winds up dying, and the only way she can get out of purgatory is if she has to save 400 souls, and the first soul she has to save is the guy that led to her death. So I did use my parents because they're home right now, and they wound up choosing my next read, which is What If Once Upon a Dream, A Twisted Tale by Lyd Blashers. This is about this is like a little bit over 400 pages. But I did read the Ariel one, and I wound up really liking that one, so I'm hopeful that this one will also capture my attention. So yeah, I'm gonna start reading this, and I would love to read this and another book this weekend. I don't know, but that's gonna kind of gonna be the books that I'm pulling from next week as my TBR. But I'm going to go read, and so for the nature of it, I'm going to say that this book fulfilled the place that I wanted to go, which was a tropical environment. This book has a house or a building on the cover, so the only challenge I need to read is one that makes me feel good, which could be this or really any of them, because I just like to read, or just like a funny book. So it would probably be on Honeymooners, and this one was read mostly in my room. But I'm going to dive into Once Upon a Dream and let you guys know my thoughts. Bye, guys. Right here back. I'm just wanted to do a quick update because I did read like a chapter of Once Upon a Dream by Liz Brashwell. I've said this before. I don't remember if I was daily vlogging or weekly vlogging when I did the Ariel one. But the one thing I do like about these books is that the characters are very, very self-aware. Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, Once Upon a Time when they were in, whatever the name of the town was. I can't think of it. It's not Smallville. Storybrooke. The characters are very self-aware, and they've always been very, very self-aware of, like, that they are fairy tale characters. Like, I like that in the story, like, the prince was like, okay, I'm gonna go rescue the princess, yada, 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 but, like, he's very, very self-aware. So the premise of this one is that Sleeping Beauty never woke up, and I think she's kind of trapped in her nightmares, which I think is a really interesting premise. And it takes the heroines on, like, kind of a different a different adventure point, and it kind of gives them another adventure. I'm really excited to read all these. I put them all on hold from my library because I physically can't get to my library right now, but at least I'm putting them on hold. But I really do like the concept of these, and they all seem so interesting. So I'm going to definitely dive in and hopefully make a little bit more progress. But I just wanted to say that, like, if you're looking for books that are kind of like Once Upon a Time, this might be a good series for you because it takes a question and it kind of turns it on its head, and then the heroine always kind of gets another adventure. Like, I think the one with Ariel, she like had to go on a whole adventure to get her Prince Charming, which I really enjoy. That one was one that I still really, really like. So I'm hopeful that Aurora also has her own adventure, which I'm really excited about. So I'm gonna dive in and I will update you guys in a little bit. Bye guys. Hey, it's Lori here. It's about 7 o'clock. I just did the reading sprint with Corey that she's been hosting on the Owl Crate Instagram. So I did wind up actually reading, I got to page 106 in Once Upon a Dream by Liz Brashwell. I really am liking this. I forgot how ill-informed I am of the Sleeping Beauty, like, Maleficent myth. Like, I forgot how ill-informed I am. So I went into this book, like, for the first 100 pages thinking, like, is this what the story is like? And then something happened. So I kind of think one of my predictions is right. So I think she's literally trapped in a dream, and that's kind of what she's doing. And it was kind of a little bit confusing because all the fairies in this book, like in her dream world, are not the fairies that I'm expecting to see. But Maleficent is like a very interesting character, and I'm really liking it. Now we got to like the crux, so I'm curious to see what the rest of the book is going to be. I really definitely want to read the rest of these. I got 2 on my Kindle. And I have a bunch more from the library that I just like put on hold, so I don't know when they're going to arrive. But I really like that she's like taking like a myth and turning it like on its head. This is one of the only ones I actually bought because it looked really interesting. Also very, very long. But I'm definitely going to keep reading. I'm gonna go get a quick snack, and then I'm gonna probably dive back in and try to read like another 100 pages of it, if not more. But yeah, that's kind of my plan of attack. I don't have anything massive planned this weekend. It's kind of a little bit disappointing. This was supposed to be my cousin's baby shower this weekend, but obviously we can't do that. So I'm just gonna kind of dive in and read a bunch and kind of do this reading rush. I might make this into 2 reading vlogs. We will see how much footage I wind up having. But I'm gonna go get a quick snack and I will come back when I read a substantial amount more. I will say probably like 50 or 100 pages. It just depends because I feel like now that I understand the concept of this book, I don't want to like put it down. But it definitely is a slow start, and I would say like maybe like review yourself on the myth if you're not that familiar with it, because I definitely wasn't. I just know that there's 3 fairies that are good. That's the only thing I know. So kind of going in, I wasn't that clear on the actual story, so I didn't know where the story like kind of like diverged. That's the problem I had with this one. This one kind of happened in the middle of the story, like we're getting the twist, I think, and the other one was very clear, like at the end of the story, but maybe I'll feel different once I keep reading. Maybe the twist has happened at the start and I'm just missing it, so I will report back when that makes a little bit more sense. Bye, guys. Flora here, I'm back. I did wind up reading a bunch more. I did wind up reading up to page 135 in Once Upon a Dream, and it was totally right. This book is exactly what I thought it was going to be, but you just have to go into this book knowing that the twist that you're expecting is you're in the middle of the twist. I think I'll say that. Like, you're in the middle of it, and it doesn't really become apparent to the character until like midway through the book, or like 100 pages in. But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a very interesting twist because basically what happened is instead of Prince Philip's kiss waking Aurora up, it never woke her up. So she's kind of in the middle of this fantasy land that Maleficent made, and she's kind of trapped in her own nightmares. And now she's kind of in this dream trying to get out, is basically what it is. And I really like that concept. I think the reason I like this story, I've only read 2, but the reason I like this is because it kind of gives the princess another adventure that is not necessarily connected to the male. Like, sometimes it is. Like, I liked how in the Ariel one, you had a bunch of different point of views. That's not the case right now for this one, but I like that because you kind of got to dive into a bunch of different characters that you didn't really get to see in like original Little Mermaid, and the same is kind of true here. She just kind of gets like another adventure story that I'm really liking. So I'm liking it. I think that this is such a fun idea series. I definitely want to read the rest of them by the end of the year. They're just really, really fun reads. I have a couple of them on my Kindle, but I have one physical one. But yeah, I'm really, really liking it. I think it's a very, very fun read. Very, very twisty. it really reminds me a lot of Once Upon a Time, and I blew through that show. That was like one of my favorite fantasy shows of all time. So really, really liking it. I'm gonna dive back in and read. I would love to get to page 250 tonight if that's possible. But yeah, I'm just really, really liking it. So I'm gonna dive in and I will let you guys know my thoughts in a little bit. Bye guys. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. I am gonna stop reading for the night. It's like about 9:16. I did actually get to page 161. I actually got a little bit farther, but I'm just gonna reread it tomorrow. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm so happy that I went up choosing this book. Out of all the Disney tales, like this one is probably the one. Sleeping Beauty is probably the one that I'm like the least familiar with. So I was really happy that like they kind of gave us a refresher of the original fairy tale in this. But I have to say, I love Prince Philip as a character in the story. Like, he's just so charming. The reason I like these Twisted Tale books is it really explores the characters, like the actual characters in these stories, in a lot of different ways and ones that don't always expect. But I'm really like that. He's such like a self-deprecating character, like a self-deprecating when he's just funny and like charming. I really like their relationship. I really like what's going on. I also like that Aurora's kind of dealing with the memory dynamics. She can't really remember what's happening, and now she has too much memories. Really enjoying it. I'm gonna keep reading tomorrow, and I'll take you guys along. I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. It's about 9:30. I did wind up reading a little bit more this morning of Once Upon a Dream, but I'm definitely gonna dive a little bit more into it before I go to my yoga class. But I'm really, really liking this. I'm loving the twisted tales. I'm loving how they take like a twist and they kind of delve into the characters a little bit more, which is always what I like about, which was always a struggle I sometimes have with like the Disney movies. Like they don't really have, and like they just end with the kiss and that's how they end. But I like that this story is kind of giving all the characters another adventure before that happens. So yeah, I'm really excited. It is still a reading rush. I haven't decided if I'm gonna make this 2 reading vlogs or 1 reading vlog yet. It just depends on how long it gets. It's probably gonna be 2. But I am really enjoying this book and I will update you guys when I come back from my yoga class. Bye. Well, when my yoga class ends because it's virtual and I'm not really going anywhere. But I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here, I'm just checking back in. It is about 12:35 and I did get up to page I did get to page like 214 in Once Upon a Dream by Liz Brashwell, which is the twisted tale that I'm in the middle of reading. I'm really liking it. I'm a little bit bummed it's raining, so I don't think I can go for a bike ride today. I'm going to try. I'm going to wait for like a couple more hours and see if I can actually go for a bike ride. I am also trying to catch up on Gifted, so when I get up to page 250, I will definitely update you guys. I'm really liking how the dream dynamic is affecting all the characters, and I'm liking how we are also getting tiebacks to like the past and the present. This book has a lot of different timelines, so sometimes you have to really remember like what timeline you're in the middle. But I am really liking the characters. I'm loving this adventure that they're on. I think it's super interesting, and I like that it's Prince Philip that is her companion, but it's a different Prince Philip than the one that's in the real world. So liking that. I'm gonna go read and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye guys. 4:10. I took a little bit of a break. I watched a bunch of episodes of Gifted, which is a show that stars a bunch of actors that I really, really like, but it got canceled like 2 years ago, but I'm really far behind on it, so I'm catching up on that. And I am also still reading Once Upon a Dream. I'm now on page 300, which means I have about 140 pages left in this read. I am really, really enjoying it. Definitely, we're also diving deeper into Aurora's brain, which I'm really liking. And the dynamics between her and Prince Philip are getting so interesting, and we're also learning more about the general story of Sleeping Beauty, which is not one I'm that familiar with. I'm learning about that as I read this book. I'm not that familiar with this retelling, so I might actually pick up a couple of other ones in the next couple of weeks. I know I have Spindlefire on my TBR, and just a couple other like fairy tale themed books that I really forgot how much I like. I just don't read them a lot, so those are also going to be added to my TBR. But I will come in with you guys. I will return to you guys when I get up to page like 350, which I feel like at that point I'll have like 100 pages left, and I think I'll have a solid understanding. But so far, I'm torn between like a 3.5 star, like a 4 and a 4.5 star read. I'm really liking it. I think the pacing of it is interesting, but not my favorite. I think it's a very like long pace. Like I think it's not a lot's happening in a sense, but I think it's important to be in Aurora's mind that long. Just the pacing is a little bit awkward at points. But I'm gonna go back and read it and I'll give you guys my updates in a little bit. Bye guys. About 6:15 and I did wind up getting up to page 350 in Once Upon a Dream. I'm really liking this book. We're definitely getting to the climax. We're definitely getting deeper into Aurora's mindscape, and it's really dealing with her, like with her dreams and her nightmares, and a lot of the characters from the real story are kind of becoming a little bit more interconnected. I really am liking it. I think that this book could have been like a little bit shorter, I think, but I do like how it's going through her mindscape a little bit. I do like that. I just think that like maybe it could have been like a little bit more of a condensed story. Maybe I'll feel a little bit differently when we get to the very, very end. Maybe I'll think that they need all the elements, but I do like how everything is kind of a representation of Aurora's life. I think that that's super interesting, and Aurora is becoming such a well-defined character in the story. That's something I really am liking, and so is Philip. Again, becoming a very like dynamic, well-rounded character, which is why I really hope to read more of these books in the future because I really am liking it. I remember really, really, really liking the Ariel one, really liking this one as well. So definitely a strong read. I'm gonna keep reading and keep watching Gifted. I think I'm on episode 9 now, which is great. And I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did actually wind up making my goal, and I got to page 400 in Once Upon a Dream. I'm right at the end. Like I literally have 50 more pages left. I'm loving what this book did with these with this princess. I know that there's some of them aren't focusing on princesses, but I'm loving it. I'm loving how they're really diving into Aurora's psyche and like her mental scheme. I like how she's really, it's like, because again, the whole book basically takes place in her mindscape that Maleficent has trapped her in. Um, I'm really liking that. I'm liking her dynamics with Prince Philip in her head. I'm loving the representation of the fairies. I really, really liked it. I can't wait to see how this book is gonna like wind up and be like completed. I thought it was such a good read. I really, really like this one. I think I might even like this one more than the Ariel one, but I really enjoyed that one too. This one is just so well done. I'm really, really liking it. So I'm gonna go finish watching Gifted. I always say I'm gonna do a 24-hour readathon vlog, and I never do. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do one tonight, but I really want to watch all the episodes of Gifted. So it's about like 8 o'clock here, so I don't know how long that would take me, and I might just fall asleep. But I am gonna try. So I'm gonna come in when I'm finished with Once Upon a Dream and choose my next read and give you guys my thoughts and give you guys my final star rating for it. But right now, definitely it's like above a 4. It's like a 4.5. I really am liking it. So give you guys my thoughts and my final thoughts in a little bit. Bye guys. It's Lori here. I just want to do a quick check-in. I did wind up finishing Once Upon a Dream by Liz Brashwell, which I think this is the second or third book in that series. I'm not reading them in order. I don't think you have to read them in order, but I really wound up liking this book. I wound up giving this book like 3.5 stars. Really wound up liking it. I thought that everything was so well crafted in this novel. I loved the story. I loved the take on the twist. I loved how we really dived into the characters. I thought some elements of the pacing were a little bit off at the very, very start and like in the very, very middle. I think that I was a little bit confused, like at the very start of the book, like what was happening because I am not super familiar with the story. But once we hit the middle of the book, all my clarification points were like cleared up. I thought it could have been a little bit clear in the beginning, but I love the characters. I thought it was such an interesting take on this myth, on this, the story. Really wound up enjoying it. So right now for the readathon, sorry, I'm turning it off. I have read like 440. Let me see, without like the little excess part. I think I read like 8. I think this book was 440. So my other book was 400. So I read 840 pages so far, which is excellent over like 3 days. And I'm actually gonna dive into Verona Comics. I would say The Unhoneymooners was a fun read. This book, or one that made me smile, this book is one that has like a building or a house on the cover, and this one is a one for a place that I would like to go to because I am so upset that all my comic book conventions are getting canceled, or my book cons are getting canceled. And this is basically inspired by a Comic Con. It has to do with the comic book industry, and it has like a Romeo and Juliet twist, which I'm really, really liking. I wasn't the biggest fan of her previous book, Hot Dog Girl, but I'm really hoping that this one captures my attention a little bit more. I read a book previously called Comics Will Break Your Heart by Faith Erin Hicks that I loved, so I'm hopeful that that one will be, or I liked. I'm hoping this might be the book that I actually wound up loving. But yeah, so I'm going to dive into this and start reading this as I'm watching Gifted and see how far I get. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys. Here, it's Sunday. It's the last day of Reading Rush. Late last night, I did wind up starting Verona Comics by Jennifer Dugan. This is going to be my last book for the readathon. It is only 323 pages. I think it's very doable that I could actually finish this today. That's the hope. If not, I'm not going to stress myself out about it. But I am liking this. I'm liking this book a lot more than her previous book. Basically follows these two characters, Jubilee and Riley, and they are heavily involved in the comic book industry thanks to their parents. And this book starts at a con, and their paths wind up unexpectedly crossing. They're in two very, very different places of their lives. Jubilee, her parents own like a small indie comic book store. And she is like a music prodigy, and she's really excited for that to happen. Riley's dealing with a lot of anxiety. His dad is in charge of like the biggest like comic book chain country in the whole world, like in the whole United States. And their paths kind of cross. From the back, I think this is going to deal with like a lot of anxiety issues and relationship issues, but I'm really liking the comic book conversation that's happening. I struggled with her first read because I really wasn't the biggest fan of her main character in Hot Dog Girl, but I'm really liking this. I'm also liking how Jennifer is really tying into the anxiety now that you're able to be in Riley's head, and I think it's really interesting the way that she's structuring the story and the way that she's making some structural choices. I like that a lot. And I also love books about Comic-Con. Like, I'm missing my convention so much recently because I can't go to any of them. All of them have been shut down recently. So this is just a great read. I really hope I really hope that I enjoy it. I hope it's kind of like a Geekerella, but maybe dealing with more harder topics like anxiety and depression. I'm hopeful of that, but I'm gonna go to my yoga class, and then I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll check in with you guys when I do that. I also really hope to finish Gifted today. That's the next show that I really would like to complete. But I'm gonna go do that, and I will check in with you guys after my bike ride. Oh, I'm also listening to the audiobook called All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. This is like a contemporary thriller mystery book about these 6 or 7 kids that were all set to go to like a scholarship dinner, but it turns out that that's not the case. And now they're basically trapped in a room with a vial of something, and they have to kill one person before the end of the night. And then while that's happening, you're also jumping back into the past to see what has led to this moment. I think it's very, very interesting. It's a very, very nice thriller. I'm hopeful that I can listen to this during work next week. We will see. I sometimes struggle with books that I haven't read before as listening because I tend to get lost, but I am going to try. But I'm going to go do that, and I will check in with you guys after my bike ride as long as the rain holds out. Bye, guys. Here, it's about 12:30. I just did my bike ride. I had a little bit of lunch. I am still reading Verona Comics. I'm on page 60 in it. Really liking this book. God, one of the kids' parents in this book is very, very mean. He's a very, very mean man, and I think that that's a lot of where Ridley, I think his name's Ridley. I keep on calling him Riley, but it's Ridley. Gets all of his anxiety. But their dynamics, I think, is going to be why this book really was pitched as a Romeo and Juliet retelling, because I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Ridley to kind of get closer to Jubilee. That's at least my theory right now. But I had some hope that the con part of this book would last a little bit longer, but that's okay. I'm just curious to see where the story goes. I'm really liking the characters. I'm loving the dual point of view. I've said this a lot recently, but I love contemporary YA novels that have both main characters have a point of view, because I think it makes the story being fleshed out a little bit more. I think it's really important in this book as well because Ridley is such a different type of character who's dealing with anxiety and depression, and I think being in his head makes this story a little bit more interesting and compelling. Still really do like the comic book elements as well, so I'm going to keep reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Right here, it's about 1:45, and I did actually watch a couple of more episodes of Gifted, which I'm still really, really liking. I have about 4 more left until the season's over, and I did get up to page about 100 in Verona Comics. I'm really enjoying the story, like, a lot. I love books set in the comic or the publishing world. I think that it's so interesting. I love this book has, like, a Romeo and Juliet twist, but also on another side, it also has, like, a You Got Mail twist. Really, really liking it. I'm just liking the setting, and I'm really liking the characters. I'm much more invested in this story, like, just a lot. I'm really, really liking it. I like how it also deals with, like, depression and anxiety on one half for Ridley's story, but then also something totally different on Jubilee's story. It's fun. I just like Comic-Cons as like a backdrop. I would have liked it if the Comic-Con element, the Comic-Con actual story was a longer part of the story, but I'm still really really liking it. I really can't wait to read more. I'm still really enjoying it. So I will give you guys an update when I get it to page 150. That's my plan. Talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Here it's 5:15. I did took like half of a yoga class with a Buddhist monk, which was actually so interesting. Something that my yoga class studio does every single year, and he normally comes a couple of times, but this one was through quarantine, so it's a much longer class. But I only took a couple of minutes. Like I only did half of it, but I did wind up getting up to page 150 in Verona Comics, which means I'm about 50% done with this book. Really enjoying it. I love books that focus a lot on self-discovery for both characters. I really love the setting of the comic book shop now as like a tie-in to the geeky world that I really really enjoying. I'm also liking the dynamics between the characters. I think that there is definitely going to be a very very big conflict moment in this book, and I'm intrigued to see how that plays out. But I really do like them both as characters. I don't know if this is going to go the romance route. Like, I don't. I think it might be a friendship route. I think I might be okay with that, but it probably will go the romance route. We will see. But right now, I'm really digging the friendship between them. And I'm liking the You Got Mail elements that this book has. I really am. I'm thinking it's such a fun read. And yeah, I'm going to keep reading and keep watching Gifted. And I'll update you guys when I make a bit more progress. Bye. It's Laurie here. It's about 6. And I did actually read a little bit more. I got to page 171 in Verona Comics. Sorry, the light is just so annoying. But I did get to chapter at page 171, which I'm really liking this book. This book is just such a fun, engaging read that definitely deals with some harder topics. I like that it addresses anxiety. I also like how she uses the anxiety stylistically. Like, she just makes some stylistic choices with how she writes the books with certain fonts and stuff that I'm really enjoying. Really liking the characters, really liking their dynamics. There's some elements if You Got Mail in the story, and then there's some elements of like actually Romeo and Juliet in the story. Really, really liking it. Loving the comic book world. I am not a comic book reader, but I love like Marvel and DC, and I love the superhero genre, so I feel like very connected to that. Um, I still think Ridley's dad is horrible. Like a horrible man to make his son do this, or like have his son use this as a bargaining chip for his infection. I think it's just horrible. But I am really liking the story, and I'm gonna keep reading. I definitely like this book a lot more than I liked Hot Dog Girl, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm actually here to wrap up this reading vlog. It was a much longer reading vlog than I was anticipating for you guys this week, but this is my Reading Rush Readathon vlog. I did wind up finishing reading 2 books. I finished reading The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which I wound up really liking. I wound up giving that book 4 stars. I thought it was definitely my favorite standalone book by that author trio. I wound up really, really liking it. I then read Once Upon a Dream by Liz Brashwell, which is another 4-star read that I wound up really enjoying. It was a take on Sleeping Beauty. What if Sleeping Beauty never woke up? And what if she was trapped in a dreamscape? Which really wound up liking that one. And that has encouraged me to dive into more of those titles from Disney in the upcoming weeks, which I'm super excited about. And I did wind up making some progress on Verona Comics by Ashley Dugan, so I wound up reading 204 pages. I'm probably going to read a little bit more tonight and probably get maybe up to page 300. But I do want to do my blog post. But thank you guys for this longer reading vlog. You guys are probably going to see this a little bit earlier than all my other reading vlogs. Again, sorry for the length. I know some people don't like longer reading vlogs, but because I've been home so much, you guys are just getting longer content because I have more time to create it now that I'm home a lot more. Hope you guys are liking it. Let me know in the comments if you participated in Reading Rush and what did you read and were you excited. But yeah, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for you guys. Well, for my next reading vlog, but I'm going to start it tomorrow for another work week reading vlog. Bye guys. Stay safe and be well.